Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I thank the Leader for the business? I appreciate it's difficult to have settled business, but it's yet again, Mr. Speaker, another sign that the government can't govern because we are, again, the Prime Minister has run down the clock. But I have to say that we haven't had an opposition day. There are backbench debates and there are general debates. So could I ask again for an opposition day? Mr. Speaker, last week I asked if we could have a statement from the government on the timetable for the progress of key legislation that needs to pass through Parliament before exit day on the 12th of April, but the Leader of the House responded by just mentioning the progress of secondary legislation. There are important bills that need their next stages, and particularly the Financial Services Bill. There is a cross-party support for the amendment tabled by my right honourable friends, the members for Sutton Coldfield and Barking, calling for Jersey, Guernsey and the Isle of Man to have registers in place by the end of 2020. This is a crucial piece of legislation to tackle tax evasion. HMRC has confirmed that in 2018, in a clampdown on offshore tax evasion, it received reports about the offshore financial interests of around 3 million UK residents or the entities that they control. Figures from Accountancy Daily say that this involved 5.67 million individual records detailing offshore financial bank accounts. When will the government find time for the report stage of this bill? And could the Leader also update the House if she's confident that all the necessary Brexit SIs will go through the House before exit day? The Brexit process has been a shambles, Mr. Speaker. No solution. Ministers are resigning. And the Prime Minister has decided now she wants to stop speaking Klingon, or should I say Ergon, to the ERG group, and now speaking to the opposition. Mr. Speaker, in her statement at number 10 Downing Street, it was a statement at Downing Street, not to the House. The Prime Minister failed to rule out leaving the EU with no deal explicitly. The Bank of England estimates that the worst-case scenario involves border delays, a loss of market confidence and the economy contracting by 5%. Nearly 30% of our food comes from the EU, and some of the imports at this time are particularly high because they involved food that we can't grow ourselves, like lettuce, tomatoes and soft fruit. Academics at Imperial College say that 2 extra minutes spent checking each vehicle at Dover and Folkestone could lead to traffic queues of 29 miles on nearby roads. In the meantime, Mr. Speaker, my constituents want to know why since 2010 spending per pupil has fallen by 8%. And the Leader has mentioned it's Autism Week. It was announced today that in the last 4 years, 17% of cuts have been made for those with special needs. Just last week, I saw my constituent. She was in tears because her daughter had to take 2 buses at the age of 11, or have a 40-minute journey just because the local schools are full. Could we have a statement on school places? We had Home Office questions on Monday, but no statement on knife crime. The Honourable Member for Gedling asked if we could have a statement, but nothing has been forthcoming. One question to the Prime Minister is not sufficient. Mr. Speaker, it's more than about public health. It's about giving young people facilities, community places, places where they can find their talents. So could the Leader of the House ensure that we have a statement from the Prime Minister or the Home Secretary on the Knife Crime Summit? Mr. Speaker, it's the 20th anniversary of the national minimum wage introduced by a Labour government and opposed by the Conservative Party. That should be our goal. When will the government implement the real living wage? And we celebrate today the 20th anniversary of NATO, signed by a Labour Foreign Secretary. The Leader will be interested in a report from the Defence Select Committee published today called Missile Misdemeanours, Russia and the INF Treaty. The Chair, my honourable friend, the member for New Forest East, said the continent of Europe is less safe as a result of the Russian decision to develop missiles in contravention of the INF Treaty. We are not a party to that treaty, but the committee said that the government needs to push NATO for a proportional response which sends a firm message. Will the Leader find time for a debate on this important report? And, Mr. Speaker, you will know that the MOD has instigated an inquiry into the use of a picture of the Leader of the Opposition as target practice. I am sure the Leader will condemn this. Could she ask, while the investigation is ongoing, could she ensure that the following questions are asked of the Secretary of State for Defence. What action will be taken under Section 19 of the Armed Forces Act 2006 against the soldiers on the matter of good order and service discipline? Will the commanding officers and those officials higher up the chain in the Ministry of Defence take responsibility, and how will they prevent this from happening further? Can they confirm who supplied the image, and can they confirm there are no such other photos circulating amongst armed forces? If the Secretary of State for Defence would like to apologise to the Leader of the Opposition or the Prime Minister, I'm sure that will be very welcome. But in the meantime, we'd like a response to those questions. Could I ask the Justice Secretary to meet with my honourable friend, the member for West Lancashire, and quite rightly we paid tribute yesterday on her resilience. She received the House's appreciation. She may have some suggestions about improvements to the trial and the terrible things that she was put under while she was waiting for the result. And, Mr Speaker, I don't know if you know, but finally we have had excellent ratings on the BBC Parliament channel. I want to thank my honourable friends, the member for Normanton, Castleford, Pontefract and West Dorset, for their great courage in ensuring that the government didn't put our economy at risk with no deal. And again, once again, thank the talented and dedicated staff of this House for ensuring that our business was done. And finally, Mr Speaker, it is cherry blossom time. I urge honourable members to go outside and look at the cherry blossom.
The Leader of the House,